Hello again, everybody. I'm back with the final mission of the campaign. It's a bittersweet moment for me to be wrapping up this series, which, as of the day that I'm recording this, I began 5 years ago to the day. I have been surprised and delighted these last 5 years to find out how many people enjoy watching this series. When I began, I had no idea how to make videos. And I didn't really expect that my eclectic mix of talking about history, mythology, game design, and of course playing through the game itself would attract many viewers. But it's really been gratifying to know that you people out there enjoy this and I can share my love of Age of Mythology with you. So I'll be sad to see this series go. I will, by the way, pick out the good missions from the Chinese campaign and play those from time to time. But I don't expect that even the good ones of that campaign will have the same feel for me as these campaigns which I grew up with. On the positive side, I will of course be satisfied to have finished what I started, and I'm excited about my other projects. I look forward to wrapping up Skyrim and doing an entire playthrough of Warcraft 3 and new games as well. I'm still thinking over some new games to play in the new year, but I think there's a good likelihood of me doing a Let's Play of Dark Souls, and probably one of Age of Wonders 3 too. Both wonderful games. In any case, this last mission is a good one, I think. It's not quite as difficult as Atlantis Reborn or Greetings from Greece, and maybe it's not as cool a puzzle as the Ancient Relics. Certainly it's not as tough as Kerberos. But the terrain is really beautiful, on par with Atlantis Reborn or Atlantis Betrayed, I think. And I think it's a memorable and unique mission that finishes up the story pretty well, which is probably the most important thing for a final mission to do. I love the aesthetics of these sunken or overgrown ruins of Atlantis in the ocean and on these scattered islands.
Where are we? This is old Atlantis.
Yes, fool. But it's about to become the place where Kronos takes his first steps outside of Tartarus.
I think it's very satisfying that the story has once again come back here to the original gate that Gargarensis was trying to open. After all these years, both in and out of character, we're back.
Look, Gaia is here. That's how we stop this.
We'll see about that, Caster. So, let's split up, gang. As Caster is saying, we need to get to these 4 different pools around the edge of the island. I'll turn 4 of my Archae into heroes here, I think. This main hero group will take care of the 2 pools around the left side of the island. No town center means quality over quantity for villagers, so I'll turn mine into heroes. Likewise, I'll build myself a dock and some economic buildings to get upgrades, and then I'll actually abandon this starting area and move to the left tree. I think there are several advantages to abandoning this starting zone and going over to that left pool instead. 6 times more gold is the most obvious one. Also, you can avoid a dangerous wave of chimeras. Speaking of dangerous waves, I don't want to have a Monretari over here at this northeast pool. A big wave will come here pretty much as soon as I invoke that Gaia's tree god power, so I want her to scout it for me, and then just get out as soon as I've finished invoking that. No, Caster, we're not going to defend the trees, actually. Playing defense is for other people. Due to the peculiar way this mission is set up, in the initial phase, if one tree dies, you lose. But once you've summoned all 4 trees, you can lose all but one of them and still win. Oh, the Dryads got swarmed. Couldn't get them out in time. I guess I'll lose them. Oh well. They're not really good or important, it's just that they cost no population and therefore I like to keep them around if I can. But if the end of a wave comes too fast, there's no way to escape with them. Anyway, the race is on to get to the last tree spot and summon the last tree. All the great economic relics are available in this mission, which is really cool. I need to get myself a temple to put them all into it. 2 actually, because there are so many good and important relics. There's not really much I can do about that spider god power, but I also don't really care about it. I don't care about losing any human soldiers except for my Archae. I'm getting these fishing ships, by the way, mostly to get the economic upgrades, which all require food. All I really care about is wood and gold, because all I really want to build are Archae. Okay, I need to get up to the last pool before any trees are destroyed. If 1 tree is destroyed now, I lose. Once I get all 4 planted, then I can let 3 of them get killed and it doesn't matter for some reason. 2 more villagers are my last economic reinforcements for a long time. So I'll turn them into heroes and get them mining gold, I guess. I don't care about the Kentarises either, really, but I'll add them to my main group, I suppose. I'll put that relic in. There are lots of great relics, as I mentioned, especially all the economic ones are available. Several other good ones, too. Okay, if I can just invoke this last Gaia seed before losing the northeast tree, I should be set. The main challenge of the mission is trying to defend all 4 trees, but you just don't need to do that, is the thing. You don't have a good economy, so you can't really fund 4 separate armies. But luckily, you really only need 1. Just defend 1 tree, and the enemy waves are not really strong and focused. Oh no, they grabbed the blue crystal shard, the very best relic. That's terrible luck. I've never seen that happen before. I mean, there's no way to prevent them from getting to the relic first if they just rush for it, and I guess they did so in this case. Well, I guess I'll have 5% less wood and gold this mission. Yeah, I've never once seen them get an important relic early. They usually grab a junky one that's closer to their base. Over the course of the mission, they will steal a lot of relics from around the map, which is pretty cool, I think. But I've never before had them steal one of the good ones from me. I'll build myself a spare temple for extra relics, and I'll build myself my first barracks. I should probably explain now, by the way, that my special challenge for this mission is to take out Kronos, the supposedly invincible titan, without using my own invincible titan to fight him. Oh, this group of dryads is toast too, isn't it? I've had lousy luck with dryads this time. Actually, lousy luck in general, but that's okay. I'll overcome this. I never before had them catch two groups of dryads in the open alone. I'll turn some RK into heroes because I'm already at capped favor and I don't want to be wasting my favor income. I'll want a lot of RK heroes, but I don't want to promote people into heroes too fast. The reason dryads are so good is that they don't cost population. Well, hero RK take up more population than regular RK do, but converting the heroes allows you to break the population cap. So if I leave almost all of them as regular RK until I hit the population cap, and then mass promote them into heroes, I can get a huge number of RK heroes compared to if I just promoted them as I went along. Oh, I didn't happen to grab that relic. I'll go have Amonra, the fast one, go out and grab it and return it to the temple. For this special challenge, the most important relic is actually the Khopesh of Horus that I grabbed. That improves the multiplier that all heroes have against myth units by 1. So for my RK and for my campaign heroes it goes from X7 damage to X8 damage. More spiders. I guess I just need to avoid walking troops there. Or only walk people other than RK or something. You know what I could do? I'll use Traitor to steal that giant, have him break down the gate, and then run away. This is pretty much the only mission where you get much use out of Heka Gigantes. You can't build them yourself, but they're so valuable if you can steal them with the Traitor God power. You could build them last mission, but they're just not really useful against nothing but automata. Okay, tactics time. Myth unit take out their human soldiers, hero archive take out their Heka Gigantes. I can't just outrun them because they're playing as Kronos, so their giant is faster than mine and would just keep hitting him in the back. Well, mission accomplished, their gate is down. I'll run my troops back to where the healer awaits. Sadly, for some reason you can't build Caladria, so you have to use Servants of Oceanus for healing instead. It is strange to me how many myth units they never let you actually build during the campaign. Instead of showing off their cool features, they hide all of them. One particularly silly example of that is that the spotlight for this mission is the Implode God power. Well, you know what? Implode is a really cool God power. You know what else? You can't use it this mission. Speaking of things that can't be used, by the way, I've noticed that the enemy never actually, brings back or reuses the armies that they send out to destroy the trees. So if I don't bother killing the enemy forces that are sitting around at the dead trees, they just tie up enemy population room forever as far as I'm aware. That doesn't actually make a big difference, of course. It's not even hard to wipe the enemy out in this mission if you really want to. Sometimes for fun I'll just lure Kronos away once they summon him and then just wreck their base while he's away from home. Have him come back to a smoldering crater. I'm going to turn more RK into heroes because, as I mentioned before, I'm getting close to the favor maximum again. I want to keep more population room free to train more non-hero Archi, but I also want to avoid wasting any favor, because both of those are going to be limiting factors on how many hero Archi I can get in a reasonable time frame. I think the Heka Gigantes are worth keeping around even though they're not strictly necessary for killing Kronos. They're just so good against everything else, and they're okay against him. But most other units I'll start deleting now to make more population room. You've probably noticed by now, by the way, that we have a very large population cap to start with, even before building any manors. Kind of like on Greetings from Greece. I almost never get the levy and conscript upgrades to make troops train faster. They're almost never worth it, I think, when you can just build more barracks for almost no price. But in this case, where I have infinite food coming in because of the fishing ships, but only a very limited income of wood and gold to spend on all my RK, it seems worth it to just build fewer barracks but have them work more efficiently this time. Wow, that second upgrade is expensive. I don't think that's really worth the price. I'd rather sell my food to get wood and gold at the market or something like that, and then turn that into another barracks or something. For that matter, my main limit at this point is not really training speed, it's more just that I have so few villagers and therefore only a very limited income of wood and gold coming in. I could, as I said, build a market and sell off food for a little bit of wood and gold, but that would hardly help. Okay, Kronos is on the loose, so the next phase of the mission begins. A little bit disappointingly, Kronos is not really anything special after the last few titans that we've fought. True, he's almost invincible, not quite as good as Prometheus, but almost invincible, but he's just as easily distracted as most of the other titans. Well, almost. His AI is a little bit smarter, I think. He will occasionally retarget back toward your town and not just be lured off forever by one initial unit. But it is usually pretty easy to get his aggro again and then lead him back off into the wilderness, so that's what I'm going to be doing here. I've noticed, by the way, that Kronos always seems to walk initially toward his southwest gate, but then that seems to be a fake out, and he won't actually attack from that direction. He'll walk back to his south gate and come out that way for some reason. I'll shuffle some villagers around to try to keep a better balance of wood and gold. Whenever one gets ahead, basically, I'll switch it up. Got some new reinforcements, including some very cool and fun fire giants. We'll try to direct them around the chimeras that are lying in wait. In fact, I think I'll have this villager stay put and grab me a little bit more wood here. You know, I've heard, by the way, that if the mission goes long enough, there's also a wave of Egyptian and a wave of Greek reinforcements, but I have never in my life seen it take long enough for that to happen. So I don't know if that's true or if you get any cool units. It doesn't matter at all if you're playing conventionally, of course. All you need to do is just hold out for another 5 minutes, and Kronos can't wreck you in 5 minutes unless you're already on the brink of complete destruction. And then you get Gaia, and then you just auto-win pretty much. But of course, I have a more challenging plan in mind here, as you'll soon see. These guys have grabbed aggro now, which is not as good. As long as he can't catch up to them, it'll be okay. I don't think he can. I'll have my heroes go over there and get his attention again. You know, come to think about how the Ulfsarks attack, because I want them to die anyway to free up population room. Sadly, they can't build anything interesting. It would have been cool to have both Atlantean and Norse buildings going on, and build up both tech trees or something. You could do that in a few Warcraft and Starcraft missions where you could possess or charm an enemy unit or something like that, and then grab one of their peasants and then build up their entire base, have 2 races at once. I think it was actually the best way to tackle one of the Starcraft expansion missions. The last Protoss expansion mission was very challenging to win without that. By the way, you've probably noticed that Kronos regenerates, much like Prometheus. Not quite as fast, only I think 100 points per second instead of 500 points per second. But that still makes him basically invincible with any kind of conventional army. The other reason I'm not attacking him at all now is that his AI is set up, as I found out, so that if Gaia gets summoned, he will break off whatever he's doing and walk back home, basically. And that will make you lose all your progress, more or less, as he just regenerates on his walk back home. So you don't really get much of an early start if you attack him now, compared to just waiting until Gaia is summoned and then going after him at that point, when he won't just walk away from the middle of the battle. This Gaia's forest god power, by the way, is pretty cool. The trees it summons are extra fast to harvest from, and you can also put them in a really convenient location like I'm doing. You can also use it for interesting purposes like walling places off pretty well, because of course the enemy can't directly attack trees most of the time. I think I can take out that giant before Kronos does any real damage to my heroes. You might have noticed, by the way, that Heka Gigantes are among the few myth units that can actually hit heroes with their special attack, knocking them back. I really don't know why they set it up that way. Heka Gigantes are really good, by the way. I mean, a Mythic Age myth unit had better be great, but they're just really strong melee combatants all around. You've probably noticed, by the way, that the enemy is pretty lazy about attacking your summoning trees. Yeah, if you try to defend all 4, you might be in a rough spot, maybe. But it's not like they're sending major waves at me or anything like that as I defend just my 1. This very cool looking pile of rocks is where Gaia will be summoned, by the way. Besides being enormously tough, the rocks, for some reason, regenerate. I did just for fun at one point use the Wrath of the Gods cheat and spent about 5 minutes spamming them with meteors before I finally managed to kill them. Nothing happened. So the whole pile of rocks is pretty much pointless. I guess they just wanted to keep them intact for their cinematic, but they didn't care quite enough to make them actually be invincible. So, eh. Oh no, the poor crowned crane's killed by his splash damage. You know, one time I was in the local zoo. I think it was one of my first dates with Mara, actually. Anyway, there was a crowned crane exhibit there, and for some reason one of the cranes just went berserk as some guy was walking by and just started screaming its head off at him for several minutes. It was remarkably loud. You could hear it from a long way away with the bird just throwing its head back and squawking again and again. I suppose that was 4.5 years or so ago now, almost exactly. So back in the early days of this series. I guess I've been working on this series off and on for about half of my adult life now, and most of my post-college adult life, certainly. Just like that novel with the epic poems that I've been working on. I'm getting close to finishing that after 5 years now. And we're at the food cap. I could have gotten a few more Archai if I'd promoted fewer to heroes, I suppose, but I think, given that I needed to not cap my favorite, this is probably a pretty good outcome. I might delete a few extra guys to get a few more Archai. More spiders, huh? Well, they might eat an Arcus or something like that, but it doesn't matter now. I'll delete this fishing ship to get one more Arcus. Spider got him, I think. Okay, one more. I think you can see here that the heroes can tank Kronos almost indefinitely, just by running around and regenerating. It helps that we're in the Mythic Age and have maxed out armor upgrades, so the heroes are as strong as they get, basically. Heroes, by the way, are immune to the hidden spiders. Only human soldiers can be eaten by those. It's a weird god power, and not that good, I don't think, because it's so random in placement of where the spiders are. "51 RK left to promote."
Gaia has been summoned. Kronos will fall.
I'm not exactly on the edge of my seat or having Amandra announce it like that, but she is right. This fight is more lopsided than the one between Ultra Arcantos and the Statue of Poseidon even. Arcantos could conceivably lose that one if he gets swarmed by too many guys, but Gaia is unbeatable. I mean, if Kronos is smart and did what I did and just built like 100,000 Archai, I guess he could do it. Well, no, even then he couldn't, because I wouldn't be dumb like he is, and I would just walk up and kill his archers with her. Anyway, I'm going to have Gaia clear out some of this opening area here and smash some of their buildings and clean out the clutter so I have more room to maneuver my armies around. There are all their relics on the ground. I guess I could grab the blue crystal shard now, but I really don't need it anymore. In any case, the mission objective says to use Gaia to defeat Kronos, but it doesn't say how. I'm going to use her as a tank and distraction, so I'll demonstrate that my archers could take him out without her help, but I'll be technically fulfilling my obligation to use her in some capacity. It seems like my resource balance has shifted back to the point where I need more gold again, so I'll go take care of that. You can see that we're slowly making progress. I expect to make... most of my archers are blocked. Okay, got it. That's why we're not making more progress. There we go. That's more like it. We need pretty much everybody contributing to beat down his regeneration rate and then make actual headway against his 50,000 hit points. You know, each Arcus is about 10 base damage, and that's multiplied by 8 by their hero multiplier plus the Copish of Horus, so that makes 80. But then that's reduced by 95% by his Pierce Armor, so that leaves about, 4 damage that each Arcus does. So it takes 25 Archi just to match his regeneration rate. And my campaign heroes don't really hurt that much more than an Arcus themselves, so you can see that it takes a lot of guys to make real headway against him. With 50 hero Arcus shooting him, you're doing about 100 DPS net per second, pretty much. Even with like 75 hero Arcus shooting at him, you're going to do about 200 net DPS per second, so that's going to take you about 250 seconds, and therefore a little bit over 4 minutes to take him down, even with that absolutely gigantic army of hero Archi, pretty much. So he really is almost invincible. But you can see we're on our way. We are overcoming his regen. Favor has become the limiting factor in turning people into heroes. Well, let me talk a little bit about Kronos and mythology here, perhaps. I don't know where they got this ugly lava demon type thing from. He's a fairly minor mythological figure. There's not that much lore about him to get into, really. Oh no, is he attacking the other guys now instead of Gaia? I guess he is. Well, I'll see if I can get him to aggro back onto her, and if not, she'll just stand around and spectate. Actually, I'm going to have her attack just once to demonstrate what her special attack against him looks like. She has a unique animation when fighting just Kronos. She does X a gajillion damage against him to overcome his regeneration rate. Well, it seems like he's not going to go for her again, so maybe I'll have her go off and fight something else in the west, just to keep her busy, so she doesn't aggro onto him while I'm not controlling her actively. You know, it is a shame that we really can't get any air units in this campaign. The expansion added quite a few cool new ones, like the Symphalian bird and whatnot. It would have been nice to have one of those. No Caladra either, or anything like that. If you've seen my other videos of other games, you know that I just love air units, so having none of them is a little disappointing to me. Is this 200-foot tall person getting blocked by relics? Is that really happening here? That is one silly way that you can beat Prometheus on that mission where you first go up against him, by the way. Just lure him into like a confined space and block him in with relics, and then he's stuck forever and you can just chip him down with siege weapons. Kronos, by the way, as I don't think I mentioned, has very high crush armor, unlike Prometheus, so siege weapons are not really a fantastic choice against him. I think Archaea are a better deal for their food cost. Speaking of food, there are a few myths about Kronos, but one theory about him is he started off as kind of a harvest god, perhaps, and then later on that role got taken over by Demeter and other gods and goddesses. It's not really clear what his role was originally meant to be. Some people think he was meant to be the god of time originally, but others don't think so. It's possible there were two similarly named titans, Kronos and Kronos, with one being the titan of time and one being the king of the titans who got overthrown by Zeus. So some people say that the Greeks got these two mixed up, basically, but I'd be hesitant to say the Greeks are wrong about their own religion and that we modern people are right about it, so I'm not sure. Kronos sometimes gets identified with Janus of the Romans, but I'm not entirely sure that that makes perfect sense to me. I think that's kind of a stretch of comparison, and Janus might not really have a Greek equivalent. In any case, the main myth about Kronos is basically about his takeover and then his overthrow. He's the son of the sky god Uranos and the earth goddess Gaia. Gaia gets mad at her husband because he keeps stuffing all these monsters that she gives birth to back inside her because they're ugly, like the 100-headed giants and whatnot. So she puts her handsomer son Kronos up to the job of attacking and overthrowing his father, Kronos. So Kronos does that, but then he gets into a similar situation with his own children later on, where he's eating them because he's heard a prophecy that they're going to overthrow him. But then his wife, Rhea, hides baby Zeus from him, and then Zeus grows up and overthrows him and frees all of his siblings, who are in Kronos' stomach and were just fine somehow. Wow, look how well our heroes can tank this guy. They're even like regenerating about as fast as he damages them. All those armory upgrades at work, I guess. By the way, the fight will end before he hits 0 HP actually, because they don't want him to be killed and do his death animation before their cool ending cinematic. Well, here we go. The penultimate, quite cool cinematic of Kronos being put back in his prison. Man, why does Zeus bother with adamantine gates? He could have just, tossed rocks on top of them, apparently. Yeah, though, to be fair, of course, Gaia is plenty of trees on top. Maybe the trees magically keep him down or something. In any case, certainly a cool and memorable moment. And away she goes. She didn't really solve the whole problem, but that's okay. Castor's got this one.
Oh, no you don't.
The animations here are really cool. They've outdone themselves, I think. I mean, he could have run instead of doing that standard walk, but other than that, really cool stuff. So, quite a stylish and memorable ending, just like having Arcantos fight the statue in the last cinematic of the original campaign. And as always, the music is phenomenal.
Part of it is over, Castor. The Atlanteans are without a leader now. They will need someone to look out for them, to help them rebuild.
I never even really imagined there was another possibility besides Castor becoming the leader.
The staff of Atlantis! All hail the son of Arcantos! Honor to Castor!
Do well. Goodbye, my friends. I will see you all soon. Until then, know that I am still at your side.
Well, no sense in wasting time.
Flying
Let's get
fish.
to work.
Interesting. Kind of an odd camera angle here. Well, a great ending to a fantastic campaign and a phenomenal game that really holds up quite well after all these years, I think. I hope you've enjoyed watching these videos as much as I enjoyed making them, and I'm looking forward to sharing future projects with you. As was just aptly said, part of this is over. No sense in wasting time, so I'm going to get to work on my new and old projects. Goodbye, my friends. I will see you all soon.